Welcome back to From the Shed End. Welcome back to a brand new video. If you're new here, before we get into today's video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. You like this video, you let your friends know about this video, leave your thoughts below about what we're going to be discussing. And there's only one thing to discuss today. That is the defeat to Liverpool, 2-1 at Anfield yesterday. Really difficult game for us. Really difficult game. But it's a game that we should have got something from it. We should have got at least 3 points or a point. You know, we were the better team in the second half. We're going to try and dissect all of that in this review today. I'm still sort of coming down off the ceiling because this was a game. You think back to the League Cup final last season where it was Pochettino and Klopp bringing on the kids. And we all said at the end of that game at Wembley that was an opportunity for us to take on Liverpool and win that game. And this was another opportunity. You know, Arne Slot obviously come in, new manager. You know, he wants to stamp his own sort of style of play on Liverpool. And it worked. It really, really worked. Defensively yesterday, we were really poor. Really, really poor defensively yesterday. There were so many things that we just didn't do correctly. Defensively, Sanchez was a disaster waiting to happen every time he touched the ball. We're going to try and dissect all of that. Let's jump straight into the lineup first of all, because one of the things I think with Enzo Maresca is he changes things either too little, too late, or he changes things drastically when he probably doesn't need to. Let's get into the lineup. Let's see what we can try and dissect from that, because it was crazy, man. It was absolutely mental what happened yesterday. Now, as we know already, obviously, we lost Cucurella. We knew that we weren't going to have Cucurella. But this is the team that he went with. He went with Sanchez in goal. He went with, which I'm still kind of in shock with this. But look, we're gonna try and dissect this, guys. We're gonna try and dissect this the best way possible. He went with Reece James, right back. Reece James, right back. Now, bearing in mind, this is Reece James that has been out of the fold for how long? He's not been in the team. You just don't do that. Why would you bring Reece James back into a big game? Look, I get it in some aspects because obviously, you know, you've got Mo Salah running towards you, you know, running into space, creating chances on that right side. You probably want someone a bit more defensive minded to play in that role. But this is a massive game for someone who's missed so much football this season. For Reece James to come back into it, it just didn't work, man. And it was such a silly game for him to come back into. You know, there's other games that you can probably put him in and he can probably do a job for you. But yesterday was not that game for Reece James to come back into. And this is the lineup that we went with. So Sanchez in goal, Reece James right back, Tosin and Colwell. We're going to get onto them in a minute, but Tosin and Colwell were the two centre-backs. We had Malo Gusto playing left back, Lavia, Caicedo in the midfield, Sancho on the left, Cole Palmer as the 10, Madueke on the right side with Nicholas Jackson playing up front as our number 9. Now, the problem I had with this lineup when I first come across it yesterday, unfortunately, I knew we weren't going to win as soon as the lineup was announced, because what happened in this game played out very, very quickly in the game. Because what we were seeing was, first of all, biggest mistake we were having. Obviously, we know Sancho, he likes to get the ball. He likes to cut in. He likes to get into these areas here. We know Cole Palmer, who likes to drop here or drop here. And he'll pick up the ball about here and he'll make something happen on this side here and try and work with Noni Madueke here. But what we were seeing in this game, which was really, really alarming, and I see where people were blaming Levi Colwell a lot for the mistakes that were happening in the defense. But here's why I think personally why a lot of those mistakes were happening. Malo Gusto was down here, which rightfully so. Maybe that's what Enzo Maresca told him to do. But Malo Gusto was here. Now, Colwell has all of here. Tosin has to come over and cover here as well. You've got Reece James that's trying to cover here as well. Obviously, we know that Liverpool, again, are dangerous on the other side as well, whether it's Jota or whoever, Diaz, Gapco, it didn't matter whoever was on that left side. It was just always going to be a danger for Liverpool, or for us, but for Liverpool to take advantage of. Now, Colwell in this space here, it just didn't work. it just didn't work. It needed someone, for me personally, like Renato Vega to be in here. And even if you want to invert him, which we know that Cucurella has been doing that a lot this season, Renato Vega would have been able to do that and drop into this space here. And I think this would have worked a bit better. What we were seeing a lot of was Gusto was here. We're going to go through the highlights in a minute, but you'll see Gusto a lot of the time is down the left side. He's working well with Sancho. But when we lose the ball, and this is the problem, this is one of the issues with the tossing yellow card that potentially could have been a red. You know, you find that Gusto isn't even in the area. He's not in the right space. You know, Tosin is drifting over here. You got Colwell trying to occupy the space here. There's a moment in the game which we'll go through where Mo Salah picks up the ball about here. Mo Salah's running here. Colwell is trying to match him like for like in pace, which he should be able to do, but it's Mo Salah. Now he gets to about here and he trips Mo Salah up one time. He trips him up another time in the box. It's not a penalty, but it so could have been a penalty. The reason that whole play happens is because of Gusto. And the thing with Gusto as well, look, Sancho's in the box. He's doing what he's doing. Palmer, Jackson, whatever. Malo Gusto is a right-footed player or a right back. 9 times out of 10, he's not using his left foot. He's going to cut in. He's going to try and feed that ball in onto his right foot and try and get it in the box. Now, that was always going to happen because, you know, you see it with Kieran Trippier a lot for Newcastle when he plays on the left as well, when he plays for England. He's going to cut in on his right foot and he's going to try and whip that ball in. And Liverpool were aware of that straight away because as soon as the ball comes in, you've got Konate, you've got Trent trying to usher him onto the right foot. You know, you got Virgil van Dijk in the box that's able to deal with that ball calmly, or Kelleher in goals able to deal with the ball calmly. It was just too easy. We made it so easy for them, for Liverpool going on the attack. Now, another thing that was an issue for me in this game, and Enzo Maresca, maybe I could understand the thought behind it, but I did say this game needed someone like Christopher Nkunku in the game. It really did. It needed an Nkunku in the game because Nicholas Jackson, albeit he scores the goal and it was a really good goal, you know, timed his run really, really well, but he drifts. He drops back. The first half, he was just jogging. He's just jogging around. He's not even doing anything. He's just jogging around. He wasn't really effective in the game up until the goal. And I get why he drops back into these positions here because, again, if Cole Palmer's here, you need someone to fill in this space. But what you'll find is, again, Noni Madueke, Jadon Sancho, whoever it is in that area, they're trying to make something happen on the wider areas of the pitch. Nicholas Jackson's right here. Nicholas Jackson's there. So when we've got the ball, we've got opportunities to get the ball into the box. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, with Noni Madueke especially, there's no one in the box. There's no one in the box. You've got one or two men running into the box. And by the time then, Robertson or Trent or Konate, Virgil van Dijk, they've taken the ball. We've lost possession of the ball. And now we're scrambling to get back. And if you remember, like I said before, if Gusto's here, a quick ball over the top of the midfield. And before you know it, it's a 4v3 situation. And, you know, Liverpool done that a couple of times in the game. It was just too easy. I do want to talk about Moises Caicedo because I think he was, again, another one of those players that was arguably probably, you know, one of our better players in the game. You know, he was a standout player. I thought Lavia played well. I think you can see that there's signs of progression with him. He probably just needs to try and keep himself a bit more fresh and a bit more fitter. But it was just a calamity of errors at the back, man. A calamity of errors. I understand why Reece James needed to be in this game to an extent, but realistically, even Ben Chilwell, I mean, we've got to remember, Ben Chilwell's still a Chelsea player up until whenever he leaves, if he goes in a winter window or he goes in the summer. But that yesterday proved to me that he's not going to be seen in the Premier League ever again for Chelsea, because when you've got someone like Ben Chilwell, who we know can play there, we know that Malo Gusto, I mean, this would have been, for me, the better option. This would have been the better option to go with. Now, you either use Ben Chilwell, you could use Renato Vega, but you could put Ben Chilwell there. Now, Ben Chilwell's probably going to do a better job of doing this, tracking down the flank. He's going to be doing that running. He'll overlap. He'll make the runs for Sancho and do that link-up play with him there, the overlap. But he'll also trap back as well. He'll trap back so well. You know, he's able to keep up with Mo Salah. I reckon it would have kept him a lot more quieter than maybe Gusto was able to do, and obviously Levi Colwell. But Gusto would have been more effective on the right side as well, because Reece James, as much as he was trying, for me, it looked like he lost a small bit of his pace yesterday. And I know he'd done his tracking back. Reece James done it really well a couple of times when I think it was Cody Gakpo was on his tail. But it's a massive game to come in when you've missed so much football. It's a massive game just to walk back into, big, intimidating atmosphere like at Anfield. It's a big game. We know that the stakes are high in these sort of games as well. So for me, bringing him into this game just didn't make any sense when you've got, even Renato Vega. Let's forget that Chilwell's even in the squad. Vega would have done a better job, in my opinion, than Malo Gusto at left back. Because Vega, yes, he probably doesn't get forward as much, but he's going to do a lot of this here. And one of the things that I think with Liverpool that they found quite easy was getting that ball through that midfield. It was so easy. They made things narrow, then suddenly it's wide again when you get to that final third, when the ball gets to, Gakpo or Jota or whoever. And let's be honest, Curtis Jones was running that midfield yesterday. He was running the midfield like he was there the whole season, and question mark for Liverpool there about McAllister and Curtis Jones, because now they've got a couple of options in that midfield, but he kept Cole Palmer here. Cole Palmer was almost ineffective in that first half because he knew he had a job to do here. He had to help out Caicedo and Lavia. Curtis Jones, Slobberslai in that midfield were brilliant for Liverpool, and it almost took Cole Palmer out of that game, essentially. I talk about the balls coming in from Sancho, the ball's coming in from Madueke. You normally see Cole Palmer on the edge of the box. He's normally here. He's either waiting or he's driving into the box here, but he's normally here. A lot of the game in that first half, he had to stay here. He had to stay here. He had to stay here. He had to occupy this area of the pitch. He had no choice because the midfield was getting stacked out. Trent was dropping into that role here, where he's dropping into that inverted position here. We needed an extra body in that midfield. And I think had we had Vega in there, it would have freed up Cole Palmer to do his job here. It would have freed up maybe Lavia to drive forward, or Caicedo to drive forward a bit more with the ball. Vega to drop into that space here, Caicedo to drive forward. It would have gave us more bodies going forward, options going forward, and we didn't have that. We were almost static when we got to midfield. We were very static, and it was like we were scared to approach Liverpool at times in that first half, and that's why I think we struggled essentially to even get many shots off, many chances created in the first half, which was a bit of a worry. But let's go to the highlights, because I think the highlights will probably tell us a little bit more about the game and how it went. And just everything overall, man.
It's the car with close brothers Montenovo or Black.
He just wasn't good. Was not good at all, man. Was not good. Was not good, man. Wasn't. Well, let's go back. Let's look at that. Malo Gusto is here. Right? Malo Gusto is here. You can see Caicedo, Lavia, Cole Palmer on the edge of the box, like I said. Nicholas Jackson, Noni Madueke. Now, Sancho looks like he's trying to drive that ball in. He looks like he's looking, I would think, for either whipping the ball in here or whipping the ball in behind the defence, over the top of the two centre-backs, Noni Madueke to run in and finish. They high up the pitch at that point. He shouldn't really be there. He shouldn't be here. He should not be occupying that space there. He shouldn't be there. Now, we're quite lucky. I know there's a lot of people saying that maybe Tosin should have been sent off. Personally, I don't think he should have been. I think, there was other defenders around him. It was more of a yellow than a red. Obviously, Gabriel was sent off for something similar against Arsenal, but I don't see that. I mean, that's just a yellow card. He's clumsy from Tosin, bruised or cracked rib, but just look at that. Look at the quick transition from Liverpool. Reece James chasing back. We're scrambling. It's 3 versus 1. Tosin shouldn't even have to drag him down like that because there's 3 of us. Now, if Tosin doesn't make that, you would hope that Levi Colwill can make that run and stop Diego Jota from running past him onto goal. You would hope. But it's mental. It is out. Gusto has to be tighter. He has to be he can't allow that shot to come in. He can't allow that shot to come in, Gusto. He just can't. We look at the space, and I think maybe that comes back to my point about Gusto playing as a left back rather than the right back. He just didn't look comfortable at all until he switched onto the right side of the defense. But I'm going to say that this isn't a penalty. The quick turn from trying to pause it. Now, look, Colwell is going for the ball. Now, does he kick the ball and the player? Yes, 100%. But that shot right there will tell you that he definitely gets maybe a bit of a touch on the ball, but he does kick through the player. But I think that's down to Curtis Jones. Now, does he look for the foul? Is he playing for the penalty? Maybe he is. And maybe the ref has to give it just because of the rules of the game. But I do think that's a very, very harsh penalty to give away. What's worrying from this, though, is look at the direction Sanchez is about to dive. Now, that ball, you can already tell it isn't going in this direction towards your far post. That's going towards your near post, but he's already positioned like he's going to go far post. Which, now, I do want to talk about something they didn't put in that clip, actually. Nicholas Jackson, you absolute buffoon, you idiot. I'm pretty sure Nicholas Jackson is match fixing. He has to be match fixing. He's got to be match fixing. He must be picking up yellow cards on purpose because there was no need for Nicholas Jackson to walk into that penalty box. We saw Sanchez sort of trying to walk Salah down a little bit, put him off the penalty. But Nicholas Jackson just walks into the box and just starts clapping for no reason. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? One of the things I said before the game was discipline is key. Discipline is everything. It's crucial. Discipline is key. You can't do something stupid like that to pick up a stupid yellow card for no reason. Discipline, simple things. I'm pretty sure he's match fixing. He's got to be. He's got to be match fixing. This is why I think Maresca went ballistic after this. But you look, there's an option in the box already that you have to use it. Maresca's going mental because he knows he should be using the far post. Flight risk. He's an absolute flight risk. I can't believe we've spent over 1 billion, B for Bravo, N for November, pounds. And that is what we're left with as a goalkeeper. We shouldn't be in this situation. And let's be honest, we've let Petrovic go out on loan. We've let Kepa go out on loan. One of those two goalkeepers was sufficient enough to play for us this season. Based on what we've seen so far of Sanchez, very, very uncomfortable with his feet, at the ball at his feet. Can't play out from the back. Reece James passed him the ball a couple of times. I think Colwell or Tossen might have passed him the ball a couple of times. And he panics already. He wants to release the ball before he's received it. And, you know, the defender's not always ready to receive the ball back. Sometimes you just got to go long ball with it. Sometimes you got to use your brain and not just pass back to Colwell if he's not ready to receive the ball. There's a moment where I think Colwell passed it to Sanchez. Sanchez passed it back to Colwell. It almost ricochets off Salah and they nearly win the ball back. It's just ridiculous things. Like, you've got to use your brain just use your brain, Sanchez. You've got a brain. You can't come out. You can't come out and do this. You just can't come out. You just can't come out and do that. Now, I know he looks at it. He looks at the, I mean, that is crazy. Yes, he gets the ball, but Jesus, man, that's just poor goalkeeping. That is poor goalkeeping. What anybody wants to say, that's poor goalkeeping. I'm sorry. Whether it's overturned or not is mental. Mental. Absolute bonkers, man. He really got in the game, apart from the block shot. This is beautiful ball from Caicedo. Look at that pass right there. Look at the run from Jackson as well. That run's brilliant. And Caicedo's got that in his locker, but that is a beautiful ball. Jackson working in between the two centre-backs is what we need to see a lot more of as well, whether it's him or Nkunku, whoever. But he knows as soon as that ball's through, he's got to score. Beautifully taken goal. Obviously onside. Love the celebrations. But within, 90 seconds, I mean, this is... Look at that, man. Just look at that. Let me try and pull it back one little frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's include the goalkeeper, 7. Versus 1. Not even 1, actually. 1, 2, 3. So there's 7 of us trying to defend the ball here. You got Slobosly just in no man's land there. Sanchez has to be coming out and making, as soon as that ball's crossed in, he's got a choice to make. He's kind of at the moment in no man's land. He's either not in the goal or I'm coming out to get the ball. He does neither. Reece James, way too slow to react to this run here. I can't kind of let these two off here. I'll let them off, Colwell and Tosun, because to be honest, the ball is going to Curtis Jones. You can see that. That Salah's meant that ball for Curtis Jones. But that is ridiculous. At what point has the goalkeeper made his mind up? Because he's still in the goal. So no one's marking Jones at this point. So the goalkeeper has to be here. Now the goalkeeper decides to react to the goal when the ball's been released from Jones's feet, which is pointless because what are you doing? What are you doing? The ball, look, there's a reaction. The ball's gone. And now you're coming out and you don't make yourself big. If anything, you made the angle easier for Curtis Jones to use your body to lift the ball over. We can't have this guy in goal. We can't have him in goal. We can't have it. I said yesterday, I would have put Hilario back in goal. If he's still there, get him back, please. Please. Because this guy is going to cause us a lot of problems this season. 3 points dropped, 1 point dropped. This is going to be the reason why, because the goalkeeper, and this is why I can't really blame Colwell. I can't blame Tosun. I can't really blame Reece James because he's come back from an injury. I can't really blame Gusto because he's playing out of position, but the goalkeeper has to be solid at the back line. He has to be the one that's calming those defenders down, controlling things, observing things, coming out. I mean, that is basic goalkeeping. That ball gets crossed in. You have to be able to come out and command that box, or you stay in the goal and you make sure that you make yourself big in the goal. Now, the defenders are at fault in this one because the defenders, Tosun, Colwell, especially Reece James, I know I can't fault him, but that's basic defending again because the ball's coming and even if it doesn't get to Jones, you still have to anticipate that run that it is going to get to Curtis Jones as a right back. And I know you're looking over your shoulder. Don't worry about over your shoulder because you've got 3 defenders here that can cover you. That you have to follow that run. You have to follow that run into the box. He doesn't either. He doesn't do anything. Reece James is waiting for Sanchez to come out to get the ball. He's waiting. I mean, look at that. Look at that, man. That's crazy. Just that frame there tells a story. Because 2 things could happen here. You could either pass it to Nunes as well, or Slabberslide, or Gapco if you wanted to. But that frame tells you, look at that. No one's defending anyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's include the goalkeeper. No one's defending anything but themselves. Who are you? What are they defending? What are they defending here? Man, you got to do better. You've got to do there. That's where Sanchez has to come out because none of the defenders are making that. Not one of those defenders are going to make that ball. Sanchez has to come out and command that ball and do better because he left it so late to make his mind up and it's just nonsense, man. It's just nonsense, man. Nonsense defending. I mean, look at that. That's the angle. That's the angle. Look, in fact, Reece James, you've got no excuse, mate. You've got no excuse there, mate, because look at that. That angle makes it even worse for Reece James. You're ahead of him. You're ahead of him. Now, it looks like you're trying to play the offside trap. You failed. All of you failed on that one because he actually times his run well. He's behind all the defenders. But Reece James, you should be winning that race to the ball. You've got to win that. You're trying to play offside, but you're not even in line with your defenders. How can you put your hand up and play offside and you're not even in line with the centre-backs? That doesn't make any sense. Your hand's up. Oh my God, this is crazy. And that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is the problem with us. We can't do things that are the most basic things in the world. These are the most basic things in the world. Basic things. that we should be able to do. Defensively, we have to do better. Big game coming up in a week against Panathinaikos, but we have to do better. We have to do better. That was a massive test for us. A massive, massive test for us. And we failed. Let's be honest, we failed completely. Those kind of games, like I said before, playing Liverpool at that moment when they weren't at their best. The worst thing we could have done when you score that goal is concede so early as we did. And by doing so, we allowed Liverpool just to control the game after that when it was 2-1. The subs didn't make sense as well. I thought bringing Sancho off at half-time, didn't really understand that. I thought Nicholas Jackson staying on the pitch at the end didn't make sense either. And Kunku should have come on. And Kunku came on and played on the left. On the left. Oh my gosh, no. Those sort of things will cause us a lot of trouble this season. Maresca has done brilliant stuff for this team so far. But tactically, when you get things wrong by playing players out of position and you make those subs that don't really make sense. I thought Enzo coming on didn't really make sense. I thought I would have kept Lavia on, if I'm honest. I get it, but a lot of people have said Enzo, after the game, walked straight down the tunnel. I think it's becoming a bit of an issue. We want to watch. We did a video already about him this season. How do we play him in the position that we want to try and play him in? But he seems like he's becoming a bit more of an issue. Not just on the field, but certain things off field, walking off, not applauding the travelling fans that, travelled. I know Theo went to the game yesterday. He travelled from 6 a.m., didn't get back home till midnight. Some of those fans travel a long way just to go and watch Chelsea. And the least you can do, even if you're dying for a piss, is quickly go over and applaud those fans and walk down the tunnel. And for Enzo Fernandez, who's been our captain so far this season, not to do that is a bit crazy. But we've got to do better. Conference League coming up. We've got big games coming up for the rest of November and through to that busy Christmas period. But we have to do better tactically. We can't afford to drop points at this point. Arsenal dropped points. We've dropped points now. City and Liverpool seem to be running away with it. If we're serious about top four, we have to make sure that we win those sort of games, or at least get a point. Because we played well enough to get a point, but yeah, we got to do better. We really have to do better. So let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. Linktree link in the description that will take you to all the social accounts, and the podcast audio version of episodes will be available on there as well. So make sure you tune in. We'll be back for another episode of the podcast this week as well. We'll be talking all things Liverpool, Conference League, and all the rest of it. So make sure you tune in. And until next time, stay safe and we'll be back soon.